everybody. This is Justin Gray, sports editor for the Bell Ringer and communication major at Augusta University, with another edition of the Dip Metra Show from Bell Ringer Phoenix Media. In this edition, we will discuss the Jaguar men's out-of-conference victory over Emmanuel and preview the PBC opener against USC Beaufort, as well as the final non-conference game of the season against Converse. Our panel includes head men's basketball coach Dip Metra and chairman of the communication department, Dr. David Bulla. Welcome in, everyone.
Good to be here.
It's a great day to be a Jag.
So, Coach, you guys got, I would say, the biggest win of the season. Against Emmanuel, 89-84. In a game, we talked about after the game, where it felt like the Jags were the better team throughout from start to finish. And it really wasn't a 5-point game. It got up to 11-12 in the second half. What was your thoughts on the game and the way your guys played, especially after taking a week off for finals and going into a environment where it's tough to win and tough to get any calls too?
Yeah, it was the most complete game we've played all year. You know, the other ones, Union and Chowan, we kind of came back or whatever it was. It was the most complete game. We got off to a great start. We started out shooting it well, and we didn't get to the free throw line at all the first half. Okay, so you know that's going to happen a little bit on the road. And just heard Bill Self say this. It has been 6 straight halves since Kansas has been to the 1-1. Okay. Has the game changed? Yes. But has the officiating changed? Yes. It was a good win for us, and we had some guys play really well.
Yeah, one of those guys being Max and Madison, who we discussed last week, who has come on a lot. 30 points, 14 rebounds. I think he had 15 points in both halves. He's playing a lot of minutes, which he didn't. He did it last year a little bit, but he's playing it more efficient this year. His success is actually leading, and we thought it would be Meach most of the time. Well, he's taking the weight off of Meach. Between those two, you're getting about 50 points a game. What's it like for the other guys taking the pressure off of them when you have two guys getting that kind of production?
Well, the biggest difference is Max needs to get the basketball. Meach can have the basketball. All right, so in order for Max to play well, someone has to throw it to him. And our guys are starting to realize a little bit that he's a good player down there, and we're moving the ball side to side and trying to get it back to his side more often. And he's getting confident. I think in that game he only took one bad shot. He took one on an inbounds play that they kind of sniffed out, and he shot one up from 15 feet. But no, he's playing very well. His turnovers down. He got credited for his turnovers the first half that weren't his. And he got his first assist of the year. And, he's not being selfish, but he's getting such deep position that he's just getting to his jump hook quickly.
Well, he's averaging almost a double-double, almost 20 points a game and 9 rebounds.
That's hard.
Yeah, that's pretty difficult to do now for
really
a center.
Hard. Yes.
So
when you get in the conference play, the numbers will go down a little bit because they'll game plan a little bit differently, and there's a little more size in our league. But no, he's playing really well, and Meach has been very good. And John St. Germain's been good. Like, he's been really good since the Fayetteville State game. And, we had some tough conversations during the game and after the game the next day in practice. But I know his assist to turnover ratio in those last, I don't know what it is, but it's really good.
Yeah, I was going to discuss that. He has, in the last 3 games, 8 assists, 7 assists, and 8 assists.
That's 23.
Yeah. So
not many turnovers, I don't think.
No, he had one against Emmanuel, and he was talking about it being bad. So I'm assuming he didn't have many in the other two. Talk about making someone a true point guard like John has become. And he came in that way, but he's progressed at such a high level.
It's a leadership thing right now. When you come to our practice, John St. Germain is out there. Okay, he's vocal in practice. He is good. He's talking to guys, positive, talking to them negative, getting on guys. Max is doing the same thing. Meach is a quiet guy, so he's not going to do that. So John's really developed into it. We had a conversation yesterday after practice with TJ, like, hey, listen, you're more advanced than John was coming in, but you better change some ways on being vocal on the court as a point guard. And it's helped John have TJ out there a little bit because TJ is definitely a pass-first guy. And like I said, the ball is just moving better. And the ball moves, everybody's happier. I'm happier. The players are happier. And we just got to keep getting better in those areas.
John, to bring it back to your point, they made a run at the end to try to tie things up, and I believe you called a timeout. It was a 5 or 3 point game when you called a timeout, and I don't know if John was in at the time, but everybody sat down on the bench, and he took over before you got to the huddle and said, now's our time to finish them. We got to make a shot, and it's over. Yeah. And I thought that was really cool to see from a guy that's still so young.
He's a sophomore, and vocal. he had a big jump shot when Elias threw a +1 to him in the corner. And, late in the game, we ran something called New York to get him the ball. And so we were turning it over. He's going to make his free throws. No, he's been good. And, got beat off the dribble a couple times late when he shouldn't have, gambling. But he's doing well. He's getting steals. He's been a true point guard. And he's everybody's got toward this winning streak. But those three definitely are contributed a lot toward it.
You're really shooting the ball well. 58% overall in this last game against Emmanuel, 64% on 3 points, which is double what.
That's not happening too many times.
It's not going to happen too many times. And 50% from the field really for the season. Why are they shooting so good? And it sounds like shot selection is part of it.
We changed something offensively, okay? We went back to more of our 4-out, 1-in offense. And we were doing something early in the year that I thought really was good. And we were really stagnant. Matter of fact, after our exhibition game, Brad Burnell asked me, he goes, what's your kind of like catch-up offense if you get down? Because we were really trying to grind things out based on our personnel. Then we made a decision like, let's move this ball a little bit more. And, I argued that's the way the game should be played. The ball should be moved. Everyone should touch it every possession or as many times as possible. And it's helped guys. And based on our personnel, I think it's good for them. It's hurting one or two guys a little bit productivity-wise, maybe on their numbers, but they're still playing well.
And the free throw shooting a little down, but again, you didn't have that many free throws. But overall, you're up to 75% for the season, which I think is a pretty good number.
Yeah, no, be pleased. In the Emmanuel game, we had it separated, like Justin said. We had it separated, and we missed the second end of 3 1-on-1s, I think it was, and we had 3 turnovers on our stretch, and one or two of those were just really close to not being turnovers. So, but no, it was very pleasing. You got to do that. You got to make free throws, not turn the thing over, and I'm going to say get more shots, but it enables you to make more shots.
Yeah, but 80% or so in this 5-game winning streak, and that's a big.
Yes, anything over 70-something%, you're good shape. You're elite at 80%, I think.
Yeah.
And late in the game, things got closer, and you guys had back-to-back-to-back possessions where you knocked down a 3. I think it was Evan, Elias, and probably Meach.
Or Meach.
I think it was Meach. Where is that? I know he just asked about it, but have you just started saying, guys, we trust you to make these shots?
Yeah.
Shoot them when you have an open shot?
Well, a couple things. One, Evan's playing, okay? He's not hurt. Elias was kind of in a weird kind of situation. He kept coming. He got hurt and then played the Benedict game, hadn't practiced, and then played at Virginia. So he was out of kind of a flow. And then what was happening was he was turning the ball over and fouling back-to-back possessions, which is called a compound mistake, and hurting himself. Well, here he is picking up 2 fouls, and I finally said to myself, hey, let's just play this guy with 2 fouls. Okay, he's a good player, but we're not sure he's going to close the game. We call it to close the game. Obviously, Meach, Max, and John were worried about, but somebody said at one time, don't foul your own players out. Okay, in other words, we let Elias play with 2 fouls now. Sometimes, you think he's going to close the game. I think he actually closed that one. So it's kind of difficult because we have 3 guys that we're kind of confident in, maybe 4, depends on the personnel. Against Emmanuel, we had a defensive situation with their best player. We put Max on him, which made no sense, but Max's size has bothered him. So, no, Elias is going to shoot the ball, too, and Evan. So, and they're good shooters, and, TJ's knocked down shots, too. So, you like to close the game with TJ, but he wasn't playing well. He's getting beat off the dribble. So, it's kind of a weird combination. And I told Elias, he passed up one, too. The one came out, Max kicked to him, and he shot faked and drove it. He probably should have shot it. But, no, he's a good player, and we just got to keep getting these guys better.
Well, if you put Elias and Evan together, it's about 14 points a game. Yeah. That's pretty good production.
Yeah, and it also gives you a 6, whatever size they are, 6'8", 6'7". We're not great at contesting 3-point shots. The game's changed. But when their size, I remember a couple of possessions, Elias came and just put his hand up on guys. It's a big difference than him, a guy 6'1" doing it at 6'7". So that's obviously our next biggest concern is guarding the 3-point line. And, we're getting better at it, and it's tough change.
Are they both of them 100% healthy now?
Yeah, I think so. Ironically, Evan went to his college graduation Saturday at North Carolina A&T because he graduated in the summer. So he actually had 2 days off, which probably was a good thing because he got back from his foot injury and then he rolled his ankle. Golly, I can't remember, right before we went up there. He was out a couple of days. So hopefully he's going to be healthy. We just got to get through another week and give him a week off. It's weird. He was never hurt at North Carolina A&T. We talked about it the other day. He said he had a hyperextended knee. He was out for 2 weeks. But in his career, he's never been out. So he's getting frustrated. But hopefully, he's a big piece of this thing.
Yeah.
And so this year's team is a lot deeper than last year's team.
Yes.
Foul trouble absolutely killed you last year.
Yes.
When you got in foul trouble.
Yes.
This team, I think this Emmanuel game was perfect to show the depth because Shaven Torrance, he started.
Yep.
He had 4 fouls. He only played 12 minutes.
Yep. Same thing. We're going to close the game with him.
Right.
I'm like, let's just let him play with fouls. Yes.
And you had Evan who got 4 fouls. Meach played with 3. So I mean, you wind up having 16 fouls, but it never felt like you had guys on the floor that you didn't want to be out there.
Yeah, Meach picked up his 3rd, and we were like, ooh, let's be careful here because we definitely want him sitting over there. And we played a couple minutes, then we took him out. Shea, we decided he wasn't playing that well. It's going to be a tough game for him defensively and who he's guarded. Just let him pick up his fouls. Actually, Lewis came in, did a really good job of guarding the guy, but he's another guy who struggles from the free throw line. You can't play late in the game if you're not making free throws. So, it was a good definition. We had 8 guys play double-figure minutes, and Kendon went in and gave us 2 great minutes in a sparked role. And you know, I got told those guys, he did what we asked him to do, guard the ball and be active defensively and make good decisions. So he's kind of sitting there at number 9 right now.
But you also have to learn how to play with 2 fouls, right?
Yes. No question. And then you get to the quandary of what's the difference between 30 seconds left in the first half and the beginning of the second half. So it's sometimes you have to watch as a coach and go, how is this game being officiated? Okay, so if somebody just collides into somebody, there's going to be guys in our league that are just going to let that foul go, okay, because we're not going to put this player on the bench with his 4th foul. I mean, the referees do that. It's natural nature. When you're in non-conference, they don't know who your best player is. And we talked about Garrett. We played down in Tampa one time, and I remember the officials tried to foul him out. I go, he's not our best player. AJ was our best player, okay? But he looked like the best player was his sophomore year. So now it does happen. When you're in conference, like I said, the referees know the team. They know the people, and they know which guys that coaches are going to get mad if they picked up fouls. So it's just definitely a different quandary.
But big guys get fouls that nobody else gets.
Yes. If you don't, with Max, Tyshawn, you just don't pick up fouls when your arms aren't above your head. Okay, like you should be contesting shots. Don't pick up fouls on your. It's different. Those guys, you should never pick up a foul unless your arms are above your head. If you're reaching, no. That's habits, and Max has gotten out of those. Yeah,
Max has been great as far as staying out of foul trouble.
Yes.
I've noticed because against Emmanuel, I think he picked up a foul in the second half, and I was like, "Oh,
that was his first foul."
And it was his first foul, and I was like, "Oh, okay, well."
You'll see us on Tennessee. Like I think we did with Meach. He had 1 foul. We took him out like 30 seconds to go in the first half. Sometimes it's a mental thing. Going to the second half with 1 foul or going to the second half with no fouls is a lot better than going there with 2 because at the third, it puts it a little bit on me and like, okay, do we keep playing them? And like I said, it is sometimes how the game's being officiated, how the game's being played offensively for them.
Well, we'll move on to segment 2, and we'll talk about the PBC opener, USC Beaufort this Wednesday, excuse me. And it's an education day. Is this the first time doing a conference game as education day?
The very, very, very first one was against Georgia Southwestern in 2014, but this is the first one. Yeah, probably. Ron agreed to do it. Ron was assistant at IUP when we beat him in the Final Four. So he agreed to do it. They haven't played for a while. He played a lot of games up north. He's from up there. He kind of had an odd schedule. I think he's got one after a break. But, it's nice of him to do it. His people enjoy it. I think they're bringing their mascot. I think they're trying to think about doing the same thing down there. Okay. So I guess we're the experimental people to. It's amazing how people do it. Like Bowie State does it now all the time. When you come in and participate, it takes a little bit of organization, but it's a cool thing. It really is. So completely different style. Pressing, trapping, shooting 31 threes a game, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. They take 16 more 3-pointers than we take a game. So we'll see. We're going to handle the pressure. I know that.
92 points a game, but they allow 84, so it's going to be high scoring.
Yeah,
probably.
if you look at the biggest thing is turnovers for them. Turnovers, offensive rebounds, so therefore they want more possessions by turning you over. Their defensive field goal percentage is not good, but they're also trying to get steals. We lost to them down there. I think we shot close to 60%. But we turned it over 27 times.
I think they shot 70.
Yeah. So it's a weird thing. There's no one for Max to guard. It's just a different style. More power to him. He's got a unique style he's doing. And it was effective. We lost down there. I remember thinking, this is a bad loss. We didn't play well. And they finished toward the bottom league, but could have beat us in our last game of the year. So, they down there, 1 possession game with Aiken, 1 possession game with North Georgia. Right. I think Lander was the only one to really beat them bad down there. And so we'll see how it goes. And like I said, a completely different style and a little bit of break. We have a chance to work against this pressure because it's definitely unique.
Yeah, and something to mention about them is they had the freshman of the year in the conference last year, and now he transferred to Mercer. So don't have to worry about him. He was an absolute force in the paint.
Really good player. And Larry Bullock, who's from D.C. area, he exited too. He probably went to somewhere up in Baltimore, D.C. area. Like I said, it's definitely a unique style. I mean, he plays a lot of guys, and like I said, for his situation, it's probably a good thing to do. And it's hardest thing to do is finding size. And they play and they believe in it. They have guys shooting it. You look at percentages. You're like, is that a good shot? But they believe in it. They drive the ball. They drive it too as well. So their two leading scorers aren't 3-point shooters, but they'll shoot threes. The other guys are 3-point shooters that sometimes don't make them, but they do make them. So just get a hand up and just don't turn the ball over. Don't turn the ball over from the baseline to your own free throw line, and we should be fine. At our place last year, we didn't convert like 3 or 4 2-on-1s, and they were all consistent. It was all going to our left hand. So we've worked on a little bit the last couple of days.
They have 100 fewer turnovers than they've caused.
Yes, it's 25 to 15 or 10. Yes.
That's a great stat for them. And the other thing is their leading scorer is right at 13 a game, but they have 4 in double figures, 1 in 9, 2 in 7s, 2 in 6, 1 in 5. I mean, it's great balance.
It's crazy. Savannah State, coached by Coach Broadnax, used to play Georgetown under John Thompson, the old John Thompson. He didn't run with them. They beat them, So when they had a chance, it was a slowed down game. You can't against their pressure. You cannot against their pressure.
Well, you gotta
shoot a layup if you can. Yes, yeah. I'll yell the whole game. Shoot a layup. Shoot a layup. Shoot a layup. Shoot a layup. And that's why their defensive field goal percentage is bad. But if you turn it over, you have to get help officials too, because what happens in these games is they're very aggressive and they're fouling. And sometimes you look up there, it's 5 fouls to 0. Well, we want to keep calling. Keep calling on them if they're fouling. So it's a tough thing.
What kind of press do they use?
Man-to-man full court, run and jump in the half court. They trap some off missed shots, which is unique. Not doing that as much as they did last year from what we've seen. But they'll put a guy in the ball. They're going to trap the first pass in the half court. They pick up full court. They're going to run and double, old Dean Smith style a little bit. Yeah. And we're going to try to get our 4 minutes in the middle of the floor.
So you don't want the ball on the sideline at all?
No,
right?
You shouldn't. I told our point guards, now initially you're going to have to throw it somewhere, but after that, try to get the ball in the middle of the floor, yes. Yeah. And attack it, and shoot layups. So that's our goal.
Yeah, and when Knight was alive and coaching, they play Iowa every year, and Coach Davis would, of course, press the whole game, and Knight was like, this is our 100-point night. Yep. Let's score every time.
Yep. Yeah, you just got to make good decisions. Fatigue becomes a little bit of a factor, the media timeouts, so I don't know. It'll be interesting. Like I said, we're actually today, we're going to watch film with our guys, and Zach made a good point. We're going to watch a 4-minute segment of the game. We usually clip things. If you haven't played against, you got to understand what 4 minutes of basketball can look like when it turns bad for you, because it can turn bad, and then get a steal, make a layup, get a 3, steal, turn over. Yes, so you have to control those runs.
Does this mean you have to play 9 or 10 guys?
Yeah, maybe. It depends. We'll rotate them in and out. Yes, it's gonna be. You just don't know what the flow of the game. We're gonna push on a miss, and we're gonna try to get down there if we can. Hopefully, get the ball inside the max. And I think last year Meach had a bad game down. I know he had a bad game down there, and Meach has got a good memory because he said he had a bad game in Emmanuel. He has a better memory than I do on that stuff. And Max got a little bit of foul trouble down there, so we'll see how it goes.
You had 29 fouls down there last year, so everybody was in foul trouble.
Yes.
And Max fouled out. Meach had 4, so he only played 18 minutes.
Yep.
So, but when you come back here,
dunks you get it pressure. You're going to get a dunk. You're going to get some of those things.
Yeah,
and,
Kirby had 30 because of
and Vidi had a bunch. I think
he had 27.
Yeah, so you're going to get some layups. Here we didn't turn it over as much, and we still turned it over a good bit. We adjusted our press attack. We're trying to figure out today and tomorrow which one we're going to use against them.
What's interesting, they're 8-1. Mm-hmm. And the only loss is to Savannah State, where
low scoring
70-64, but 4 games where they've gotten 100 or more. Mm-hmm. One, the Indiana PA, good program, Division II program, 94-84. So that's pretty formidable.
You're gonna, I heard somebody say this the other day. I think head coach at Wisconsin. And, he's different. You got to score nowadays, man. The way this thing has changed, you have to be able to score. There's going to be some games in the 60s and 70s. But you're going to have nights with 3-point line and guys getting to the free throw line. There's going to be a lot of points nowadays. And it's just kind of the way the game is. If you try to slow it down too much, you're not going to be effective. So, we'll see. We'll work on some things that we do to control the tempo a little bit. But against them, they're going to switch everything, try to deny things, and try to get. We have a lot of drivers. Okay, so we should not like we're going to overshoot. Okay, I don't think we don't have that many 3-point guys shooting shots that much. So I'll be interested to see how we go.
Yeah, what is your confidence level against the press? Because at the start of the year this year, you really struggled against the press.
Correct.
Yes. I believe Florida Southern that game kind of got out of hand because Mount Olive
definitely.
And Barton started pressing you in the second half, and that's how they made the comeback. What is your confidence level at now as compared to them with this team?
We're not by it was more by injuries. We're starting kind of 2-point guards. It hopefully gets us off to a good start. There's a couple different things. You got to quit making home run plays against it. And, our guys right now, the aggressive guys are going to be aggressive with the ball. Elias, I'm a little concerned about because he does turn it over. He was better the other night, but you can't be loose with it. Actually, Shea in a weird job does a good job because he just drives it right at the defense. Lou does a good job because the ball's not getting knocked out of his hands. So I'm definitely more confident we were then because we were a terrible team then. And then having John play well, and commanding the gym, which like point guard should do.
Conference opener.
Mm-hmm. Got to be 1-0.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, This is momentum is everything.
Yes.
And then you do have the one non-conference game against Converse, but then right back and
you want to go 1-0.
January.
Yeah, you want to go 1-0, and you want to win your first home one. I think the next one is Columbus is home. So like we talked about, you want to win the home games as many as you can win as many as you can on the road. Okay, and if we get to 1-0 against Beaufort, okay, we're happy. If we're fortunate enough to beat Converse, considering we're 0-4 start, I'll take 6-4, in out of league play. So yes, you want to go 1-0 in the first part of the year, and because the one thing good is you're going to play whatever is it, 9 home, 9 aways. Sometimes we're playing 3. Well, it's all going to work out. Unless there's another storm or something. So
and this year's schedule is
flip-flop.
Flip-flop. So it's a lot. Last year you went on the road for the first 6 conference games. How much better is it for a young team to play that many home games to start off in conference play and get used to the conference?
Yeah, it does help. It does help. And, our schedule wasn't kind for us to begin with, and we weren't playing well early. The 2 home games we had against were 2 legitimate teams, Florida Southern and Fayetteville State. It does help to be in your own comforts of home. The last one before Christmas is the one you're always worried about, okay? I don't love having that one on the road at all. I mean, you got guys that are halfway out, but they're in the same situation too. So as much as I'm concerned about first conference, and then that last one before Christmas is always a question mark. And last year, a couple of times we've been down at Columbus for that one because I think I had my famous quote that year, number 3 in the country and 0-1 in the league. Okay, we're last place because we lost our first conference game. You're 0-1. I mean, that's what you are. You're in last place. So love to get 1-0 and get the other one before Christmas with Converse.
Yeah. Now we'll move on to the Converse game in segment 3 here. Converse has, to put it politely, struggled this year.
Yes, injuries. They've had injuries to the defense. Yes,
and the Peach Belt has handled them all. I believe. Yeah, they're 0-3 against the Peach Belt. Georgia College beat them by 8. North Georgia, who's nationally ranked, beat them by 25, and then Lander beat them by 44?
Yeah.
And then Emmanuel beat them by 15 up there. So going in, I believe they have former Jag on the roster too.
Yes, Davion. Yes.
Yeah, Davion McAdam. Going up there, how do you, like you said, before Christmas like that, how do you get the guys focused, and what kind of style of basketball do they play, and what would you guys be looking for?
They're more a possession team. I haven't watched them yet, obviously, because we got the next one. I've kind of saw them a couple possessions, a lot of Princeton action. From what I'm hearing, they have a multitude of injuries. I kind of looked at the stats the other day. Not everybody's played in every game, so I don't know which. I know there's the leading scorer, but not a lot of consistent flow. He does a good job. They're kind of known for this little Princeton action they run, little matchup zone they run. So, like I said, the one before Christmas, yes, is important. Anytime a coach reaches out to you on a schedule, they feel like they have a good team. Shawan reached out to me. He had a good team, okay? Nick reached out to me, had a good team. Obviously, this is not what he was envisioning. So, like I said, I don't know if it was injuries. I have no idea. And like I said, it'll be a completely different preparation of what we're doing on Wednesday. The good thing is we don't have to take a days off because the NCAA stuff, we're out of that one day off a period thing, so we can kind of adjust after Wednesday, because Thursday, okay, this is that we're not playing like this again until whenever we play Beaufort again. So that's hard for young guys. And one thing you do as a coach, you try to simulate the other team sometime in practice, and you go, hey, go down there, and we don't have we don't have like a scout team or anything. Go down and shoot 3 point. Okay, well, don't do that when we play. So it is kind of a weird thing, but you have to do it because you have to prepare for it because it is a completely different style.
And they are coming off a win. They beat Lees McRae.
Yeah, they beat Lees McRae
by 19. So.
Yeah, Lees McRae is kind of a pressing, trapping team too. So everyone's got distinct styles. Like I said, I don't know, and we'll figure them out on Thursday when we practice.
Yeah, and they won their first game of the year, and now they won their most recent game of the year, and they play Francis Marion tomorrow.
Yeah, who's very talented. That's
right.
Yes, that Beaufort 106, 104, one of those games. So yes, Francis Marion's got a lot of talent, and it'll be interesting to see how that one goes.
Yeah, and it can snowball on you fast.
Yes.
And this losing streak can happen quick, as we saw at the start of the year. So this team might be a lot better than we envisioned, and so it's going to be an interesting game. And that's the Saturday at 4:00.
Yes,
correct.
Yes, we're supposed to play earlier, but I guess the Conference girls have a home game as well.
So after that game, do the guys get to go home for Christmas, or what does that schedule look like?
Yeah, they get to go home. We're not allowed NCAA rules practice at December 22nd, December 29th. So most guys will come back hopefully the 29th. They got the guys that want to come in the 30th the day of practice. Obviously we got some international guys. Okay, right. So we got to deal with that. Some guys that aren't going home but going other places. So most of them have their arrangement set. I'm dealing with one right now. It doesn't. So hopefully we'll get them situated and back on the 30th. The first practice back is never fun. My old college coach used to never come to that one. I come to figure out why. Because they're excited to be back, but, for the most part, some guys aren't going to pick up a ball because they're tired. They just need to get a break. Other guys are going to work out. So it's always a interesting practice. We don't play until a conference game. You can jam one in that Wednesday. I think Celeste is doing it. Columbus is doing it. The danger is you're only practicing Monday and Tuesday, and you're playing on Wednesday. So, you just figure it out at our level.
Do you tell them to do anything during the break?
I'll tell you a funny story. When I played in college, my senior year, I did nothing. Not because I didn't want to, because there was a storm, okay? Mm-hmm. Literally a storm. And it was very summer, kind of like December 21st, come back. Back then you used to have to come back Christmas Day. They've changed some of the rules. And I remember my college coach going, see, he worked out hard during the break. Well, I didn't. I couldn't because there was a storm. I couldn't get in the gym. Right. But you get refreshed. The older you are, the more you need to kind of take time off. The younger guys, I'm sure the younger guys will go back and play with their high school like they do, or clubs with their international guys. Some guys are wired to work out. They'll do something. If you don't pick up a ball at all, we're going to realize it. But like I said,
go shoot free throws.
Yeah, go shoot free throws, get in the gym. Yeah. I know, you encourage them to do it, but sometimes you can't get to a gym, Right. So most of them go back and play with their high schools and, just kind of what they do and sometimes scrimmage against their high school teams.
Do you want them watching Division I games or NBA games?
It's fun.
Probably not NBA.
Yeah, no. Yes. I'll tell you what's funny is we came in one day, maybe it was Sunday, and all the big college football games happened. And I looked around our gym. I go, do you think anybody in this gym paid attention to any of the college football games? Well, definitely not the 4 international guys. They don't care at all about college football. But I looked around, guys that grew up in a D.C. No, not really. Kids down in Georgia, like Kendon's from Atlanta. Does he care that Georgia won? I don't know. Unless, sometimes at Tri-Cities you have a guy that plays at Georgia Tech, or it's different. They'll watch basketball more than they'll watch college football, and it's just kind of the way it is. I think.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
But watching Division I basketball, a little bit different.
Yeah, it is, and a lot of them go through it too. That last game, Clemson's got South Carolina tomorrow. You want to schedule a good one. You don't. Yeah. When you buy those games, when you come back on December 31st at that level, that's not fun either. Because your team mentally is out of it. So. It's interesting. Like the Big East is starting their conference play,
right.
Because
Big Ten too.
Yeah, Big Ten. And that doesn't get your attention. You're not.
Got Indiana fans' attention. That's for sure.
Exactly. So, like I said, this thing is all changed, especially at that level. The way everything's going, and even at our level, we're at 18. Next year, we're going to be at 20 league games because we're at Middle Georgia. I saw the conference schedule. I'm like, who put this together? Did they not look at a calendar? They just kind of threw games out there. You're just like, good Lord, But we also have a bunch of return games that somebody's not going to come back to us because we get another game with Middle Georgia. So someone would be happy to say, I won't make a road trip. So I'll figure that one out in March.
Well, that'll be all for our show today. Thank everyone for listening. A big thanks for Coach Meachers to Coach Meachers for coming on and agreeing to do this with us. We will be back next time with another episode. The Dip Meacher Show is a production of Bell Ringer Phoenix Media. Jasmine Garcia is the TVC Lab coordinator. Jackson Gardner is the producer. Dr. David Bulla is the coordinating producer. We are coming to you from the TVC Lab and University Hall in the Summerville Campus of Augusta University. The opinions stated here are those of the individuals, not Augusta University. You can find us at aubellringer.com, on Spotify, and on social media.
Let's let Coach give us some words of wisdom as we go into the holiday season before we sign off.
Oh, words of wisdom. Well, I tell you what, I was actually Santa Claus at a wedding on Saturday, okay? So, a funny story, Ashley Thurman, who's our cheerleader coach, got married. I've known her since she was born. And they convinced me to be Santa Claus. And the beverages were flowing down at Sacred Heart at the Cultural Center, and two of the girls at the wedding were convinced that I was actually Santa Claus, okay? And it was, how did you know to come here, Santa? I'm like, well, okay. So then somebody asked my wife, like, hey, Dip's wife's dancing with Santa Claus. They had no idea it was me because I went out and got changed. It was a neat little thing. So I've known Ashley since she was born. Gina worked here on campus. And so, everyone enjoy the holidays and, be grateful for what we do every day.
Thank you, Coach, for those words. This is Justin Gray saying so long. Back at you next week. We're out.